Hi YouTube, it's Kathy and I'm here to share with you my Queer Lit Readathon TBR. Now let me tell you, I had a little bit of trouble narrowing this down. So even though I know that I can't read 12 books in 1 week because your girl has other things to do like go to work and sleep, I still, for some reason, have 12 books on this TBR. Part of that, of course, is because I'm a completionist and I would really love to have Blackout on this bingo card. However, I know that's not going to happen. 1, because I can't read 12 books in a week, but I'm gonna try anyway. And 2, because I don't actually have a copy of the group read because it's brand new and it hasn't come to my library yet. And because I'm me and the holidays are coming up, so I don't feel very comfortable spending money on myself instead of presents for other people, I rely on the library and borrowing books from friends. That being said, I think I've covered the 15 other squares, so let's go through what I plan to read for those. The first square asks for an Indigenous main character, and for that one I've decided on a two-spirit journey. This is, in fact, an autobiography. I know that there are various different forms for the LGBT+ acronym, and one of the entries onto that acronym is 2 for two-spirited, and it's the one I see left off the most often. Also because I always feel bad if I leave somebody out, that's why I use the umbrella term queer. Regardless, two-spirit is the identity I know the least about, so I'm very excited to get into this autobiography. The second square is see yourself, and for that one I've chosen in other lands because this has mermaids, which clearly I am. Just kidding. This one has bisexual rep. I wish I was a mermaid. I mean, we got punk Ariel in the background here. And honestly, in true Kathy fashion, I put this on my TBR a really long time ago, just knowing that it had bisexual rep and it had mermaids. That was enough for me to just put it on there. Don't even need to read the rest of the synopsis, because you know I'm gonna want to pick this up. It is, however, a little bit longer than I would usually want for a readathon, so this might go nearer to the end of my TBR. We'll find out. Next is a new to you author, and most of the authors on this list are new to me, but the one I'm going to use specifically for this square is Bingo Love by T. Franklin. This is a book that I haven't quite got from my library yet. I have it on hold. I'm the next one to get it, but people are taking their time reading it, which they should. I also find this really funny because I know that my library has 2 copies, and I know that one of those copies is on my friend's coffee table right now. But she's going to lend me some of her own personal books, so I can't be mad about it. If you haven't heard about this one, it's about 2 ladies who fall in love when they're younger, and then their families separate them, and then years and years and years later, they end up in the same retirement home. The next square is a book with a character on the A spectrum, and for that one I've chosen Quicksilver. This is actually the follow-up to Ultraviolet, which I read before I even got on BookTube. And I remember enjoying it and remembering that I wish that my library had the second book because I knew there was Ace rep in it, and it didn't at the time, but it does now, so here we go. So it might be a little bit weird to get into this book because I don't really remember what happened in the first one because I read it like 3 years ago. But it's young adult, so it shouldn't be that difficult to get into. Our next square is protagonist on the trans spectrum. For that one I've picked up the first volume of The Wandering Sun. This is a manga about a couple of 5th graders where one of them realizes that she is a girl and one of them realizes that he is a boy. I know that this is a very long-running series because I know my library has at least 8 volumes and they're not short volumes, so if I like this, I know that I have much more to read. Next is a 5-star prediction or a hyped book, and for this I am so excited to finally get to read House of Impossible Beauties by Joseph Cassara. This is set in 1980s New York and follows the drag scene of the time, and I'm told that most of the cast is POC and queer, and it's about fan families and the House of Extravaganza, and I've been putting off picking this one up specifically so I could read it for this readathon. Next we have the free space, in which you're allowed to figure out what you want to come up with as a challenge for yourself, and for me I decided to do a reread. So my audiobook for the week is going to be What If It's Us by Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera. I read this as an e-arc during the 24 and 48 and I really loved it, and now that it's out in the world, my library has the audiobook, and of course I'm going to listen to it because I adored this story. Next is a graphic novel, and although I've already had a couple of those on this TBR already, for this space I'm going to use Heartstopper by Alice Oseman because I just need an excuse to read Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. I mean, really, I don't need an excuse, but I want to fit it into this TBR anyway. All I really know about this is it's written by Alice Oseman, who I absolutely adore, and it started out as a webcomic and then became a comic via crowdfunding, and then from there it's also been picked up to be produced by an actual publishing house instead of being an indie project. I know that it's got a couple of cute queer boys. I know that they, I think, are side characters in her book Solitaire, which I haven't read yet, but I'm planning on reading probably in January. It's on my shelf. It's just over there. It's under a couple of other books, otherwise I'd show you. The next spot is the group read, which I already mentioned I won't be reading because my library doesn't have a copy of it yet, but in case you missed the announcement, that is Girls of Paper and Fire. This one looks really good. It's on my TBR for when the library does have it, but I won't be reading it this month. The next challenge is to read a queer middle grade novel, and for that one I'm picking up Hurricane Child by Karen Callender. Because I don't like to know a lot about books before going into them, I don't know a whole lot about this one, but this one was highly recommended to me on a couple of different panels at Geek Girl Con recently. It's middle grade, I know it's queer, it fits the bill. I know that the protagonist was born during a hurricane, which is seen as unlucky, and she gets bullied because of that, and I believe she ends up with a friend who turns into something a little bit more than a friend by the end of it. This also has elements of Caribbean folklore, so I'm looking forward to getting into it. The next square is a disabled main character, and I'm actually going to read Karen Callender's other book. This is kind of an epic love story. I want to preface this by saying that the main character of this book is not the person with the disability, but the love interest is. So technically we don't have protagonist rep, but we have a main character rep. Nathan is an aspiring screenwriter, but he's seen the demise of too many relationships to think that happy endings happen in real life. Until, of course, his ex-best friend moves back into town and we go from a hate to love trope, which I'm just excited for, let's be honest. The characters are people of color, the love interest is hard of hearing, and I'm here for it. The next square is to read a book by a person of color author, and that one is more than covered by things that are already on my TBR. Look at me, finally doubling up on a challenge. Speaking of doubling up, I could have doubled up on Translated, which is the next square, by using Wandering Sun because it is translated from Japanese, but why not have another entry onto my TBR, because this TBR isn't long enough. For this I've decided to read Fair Play by Tove Jansson. This is translated from Swedish. This author is more well known in English-speaking circles for her children's books, but this is one of her adult books. And this one is somewhat autobiographical because it's about two women who live in the same apartment building and are definitely lovers, although I've heard that that's not really extremely explicit on the page, but that's somewhat autobiographical because she lived with her life partner for about 40 years. And it was kind of in a similar manner. So I've read that the rep is very careful because this was published in 1989, and that this is written in small vignettes of their life. Regardless, I'm looking forward to picking up this Swedish book. For historical fiction, I'm definitely doubling up with my 5-star prediction on The House of Impossible Beauties, because again, this is historical fiction and I am so ready to read this. I think I might actually read this first. Actually, scrap that, I might read all of the graphic novels first because they're shorter and then read this after that. For not your usual genre, this is the last one you haven't already seen, and for this one I'm going to read Check Please, which I'm borrowing from that friend of mine. This is a queer sports graphic novel and I don't really care about sports, not to say that I haven't read other things that have sports in them, like Running with Lions was amazing and y'all should read it. But sports are not really my go-to thing, even though I do usually end up enjoying sports books or movies. And our last square is Own Voices, which can be covered by a few different things I've talked about, so hooray for finally doubling up on another square. So there you have it. There's my way too long but I couldn't kick anything off my TBR. I just wanted to remind you, in case you didn't see the announcement, that you can follow the Queer Lit Readathon both on Twitter and on Instagram at queer_lit. And you can also use the hashtag #QueerLitRead to find updates from the hosts and other participants. Also, if all goes to plan, when this video goes up, we will also have the Twitter sprint schedule figured out, and that you can find over on Twitter. Some of the sessions will be chat, some of the sessions will be sprints, and some of them will be a combination of the both, I'm sure. So make sure you're following us on all the platforms to keep informed. What are you planning to read for the Queer Lit Readathon? Let me know about it down in the comments below. On the way down to the comments, if you hit that subscribe button, that would be very nice of you. You can like and share this as you see fit, and I will see you very soon. Bye!